Good morning, grade 6. Today our lesson is called air resistance. So, air resistance is a type of friction, and today we're going to learn more about it. If you drop something, it falls to the ground. Its weight, the pull of the Earth's gravity, makes it fall. And that's something we learned in a previous lesson. Now, the photograph shows some parachutists falling. Eventually, they will reach the Earth's surface here in this picture. The parachutists will not be traveling very fast when they hit the ground. This is because they are falling through the air. This means that there is another force acting on them. This force is called air resistance. It slows them down to a safe speed. Now let's see. Here we have these parachutes. And the force that's acting on them, not only the force of gravity, of the weight pulling them down, there is on the opposite direction a force called air resistance, and this air resistance slows them down. A parachute helps parachutists to fall safely from a great height. It makes their speed slower, it slows them down, so it's safer for them to fall from the sky. Now, balanced forces. As the parachutists fall, air pushes upward on the inside of the parachute. We can represent this using a forced air pointing upward. So here we see it in this diagram. We have two forces acting in opposite direction. The weight pulling down, the air resistance pulling up. There are two forces acting on the parachutist. They are equal in size but point in opposite directions, so they cancel each other out. The parachutes fall at a safe speed. When forces cancel each other out like this, we call it balanced. So here, when two forces are in opposite direction and same amount, they cancel each other out, and we call this balanced. Moving through air. It is easy to wave your hand through the air. Air is very thin substance, so we can move easily through it. That's why a parachute must have a big area. A small parachute would be useless. From the lesson before, we said the three things that affect the resistance of the air or the friction are weight, surface area, and the roughness of the surface. So it has to be very large, have large surface area, so it increases the air resistance, and you have good air resistance. Like here, look at the flying squirrel uses air resistance to help him glide through air, and these thin skin act like parachute. The air resistance here help him glide safely in the air. Here we have air resistance and friction. Air resistance is like friction. It tends to slow down anything that is moving. A large area gives a lot of air resistance. A thistle seed will float slowly downward. The wind will carry it far from the parent plant. The aircraft in the photograph is designed to move easily through the air. Shape like this is described as streamlined. Here, looking at the pictures, this is called a thistle, and it's very lightweight. And air resistance when the thistle downfall through the air, there's good air resistance, but also it helps carry it away from the mother plant. Here we have a streamlined aircraft. This aircraft is designed in this shape so it can glide easily. It has a nice surface area, so it can have a good amount of air resistance and can fly easily through the air. So what we learned from this lesson: air resistance is a force that acts on object moving through air. Streamlined shape reduce air resistance.